The manhunt is intensifying for a suspected serial killer on the loose.
Mark Goodell, first known as the Baseline Rapist and then the Baseline Killer, had most of the valley living in fear for more than a year.
Police here are urging residents to be vigilant, report anything suspicious. They need a break in this case, and they need it fast.
Well, this guy, he's killed 7 people. He's going to kill again.
Throughout 2005 and 2006, the city of Phoenix, Arizona was subjected to a massive amount of killings, which only appeared to be growing as time went on.
This morning, authorities in Phoenix are on the hunt for a serial killer they say has struck again.
As more and more were being murdered, police would soon realize that all these killings couldn't have been done by a single person, and the methods of each death would be considerably different. Summer of 2005. At this time, there were reports of shootings and gunshots being heard almost daily, but it was the police finding the body of Georgia Thompson that they realized that this was more than a surface level crime. Found with a gunshot wound to the head and her pants pulled down. Police would identify this as the calling card for Mark Goodell, aka the Baseline Killer. During this time, Goodell would take 9 other victims and sexually assault 19 more, including 3 girls he forced behind a church late one night. Currently, I'm in front of the Twin Buttes Southern Baptist Church in Phoenix, Arizona, near Baseline Road. This is where Mark Goodell forced 3 teenage girls behind this church, where he raped 2 of them and sexually assaulted all 3. But this was only the beginning of some of his heinous crimes. While all this was happening, consistent killings, all within the same nature, were happening sometimes minutes after another. It was then that the Phoenix police knew that these crimes had to have been done by someone else. But who? June 29th, 2005, David Estrada was shot to death in a drive-by shooting. November 11th, Nathan Schaffner was murdered while protecting his dog. May 2nd, Claudia Gutierrez was shot in another drive-by shooting. As more and more were being randomly targeted, Dale Hausner and Samuel Dietman would coin the name the serial shooter. Doing their crimes out of a car, they would choose suspects at random and open fire on them, sometimes doing the shootings in broad daylight. Task forces were formed to help catch the serial killers, with a $100,000 reward for any information that would assist in the investigation. A tip from a friend of Dietman would lead police to both Dietman and Hausner, along with the car that was described in the police report. This led to the arrest of both Hausner and Dietman on August 3rd. Police raided their apartment and found a scrapbook of all their shootings from the newspaper, as well as clippings from the Baseline Killer case, almost comparing their killings to each other. During their capture, the Baseline Killer hadn't struck in months. Police had formed a profile on the killer, which caught their attention towards Mark Goodell, who had gone to prison in the past for crimes similar to those involving the case. DNA evidence from the victims had come back, which was a match to Mark Goodell's. This led to his arrest on September 6, 2006. Police found jewelry that belonged to Tina Washington, as well as blood on his clothing. Mark Goodell was sentenced to 438 years in prison and sentenced to death 9 times. As for the serial shooters, Dale was sentenced to death 6 individual times and ended up dying in prison, while Sam got life in prison without parole. Many people, including Mark's wife, believe that he was used as a scapegoat for Phoenix police and was framed.
He's the Baseline Killer's scapegoat. He is the person that was just black enough to be arrested. He's too old.
However, 16 years after the case was closed, Mark still has never admitted to any of the crimes and is convinced he was framed. He remains in Florence State Prison on death row to this day.
But I could look at each and every one of you guys today and show you Mark Goodell is no wolf in sheep clothing.